U.S.-China trade game. This opinion examines the misuse of the trade war metaphor and analyses Trump's tariff strategy and its implications. The current U.S.-China tariff tit-for-tat is a high-stakes game, not a war. Tit-for-tat is a phrasal expression meaning retaliation in kind. High stakes is an idiom meaning involving serious risks or rewards. This opening sentence serves as the thesis by distinguishing economic retaliation from real warfare. While the phrase trade war has long been used to describe the process of imposition of import tariffs on a country that, in turn, levies counter-tariffs using the war metaphor, trivializes the devastation of real conflicts, which involve the loss of life, deep human trauma, and the destruction of properties. Trade war is a metaphor meaning economic conflict carried out via tariffs. Imposition means the act of enforcing something. Import tariffs is jargon for taxes on goods brought into a country. Levies means imposes a charge or tax. Trivializes means makes something seem less important or serious. This sentence argues that calling tariff disputes a war diminishes the horror of actual conflicts. Just think about the wars raging in Ukraine, Gaza, and Sudan, and the countless other previous wars that saw millions dying around the world. Raging means fiercely active. Countless means too many to be numbered. This sentence invokes real-world examples to contrast human suffering with economic measures. The war metaphor, as used by commentators, analysts, pundits, and economists, overdramatizes the economic and political impact of tariffs. Commentators means those who publicly offer opinions. Analysts means those who examine data or events. Pundits means expert commentators. Overdramatizes means exaggerates severity or importance. This sentence criticizes experts for overstating tariff effects through war imagery. International trade is a peacetime activity. It should be analyzed as such without focusing on this metaphor. Peacetime means non-war period. This sentence calls for treating trade as a normal, non-violent exchange. Donald Trump initiated this trade game in a way that shook the entire world. Initiated means began. Shook means caused profound disturbance. This sentence credits Trump with launching a groundbreaking global tariff campaign. But what are the objectives of levying such large-scale import duties across the board? Levying means imposing, a tax or charge. Large-scale means extensive in scope. Import duties is jargon for taxes on imported goods. This question signals a shift to dissecting Trump's motives. He simply wants to provide some protection to American manufacturers, initially at the expense of consumers who will bear the cost of tariffs through higher-priced goods. Protectionism is jargon for shielding domestic industries from foreign competition. Manufacturers means producers of goods. Expense means cost borne. Consumers means buyers. This sentence explains that tariffs shield U.S. producers, but raise prices for buyers. Another Trump objective is to provide a tax cut to U.S. citizens once the process is streamlined and the flow of tariff revenues materializes meaningfully. Tax cut means reduction in taxes. Streamlined means made efficient. Materializes means becomes real or tangible. This sentence suggests Trump will recycle tariff income into domestic tax relief. In Trump's view, his tax cut, to be financed by tariff revenues, will compensate the consumers for the high cost of inflation. Compensate means make up for. Inflation means general rise in prices. This sentence describes Trump's reasoning that tax relief offsets higher living costs. Achieving the above aims needs a continuous flow of imported goods to the U.S., which in turn requires import duties to be set at moderate levels. Continuous flow means unbroken supply. Moderate means neither too low nor too high. This sentence argues that sustaining imports demands mid-range tariffs. If the tariff rates are set at exceedingly high levels, imports might stop completely. Exceedingly means extremely. This sentence warns that very high tariffs can halt trade altogether. This can happen if the tariff is set at what economists call a prohibitive level of tariff, where imports from the targeted country stop completely. Prohibitive level of tariff is jargon for a rate so high it effectively bans imports. This sentence defines the threshold that blocks all imports. The retaliating country will also set its tariff at an extremely high rate, thereby ending trade between itself and the other country. Retaliating country means the nation responding with its own tariffs. This sentence highlights the risk that mutual tariff hikes will shut down bilateral trade. Is the tariff rate of 145% imposed by the U.S. on China close to the prohibitive level? Percent means out of 100. This question probes whether 145 borders on blocking imports. While there's no definite answer, the tariff rate seems close to this level because the increase is exceptionally large compared to what it was before Trump unilaterally began this trade game, forcing all countries to take counter steps, negotiate, or retaliate. Definite means certain, exceptionally means unusually, unilaterally means by one side alone. This sentence observes that unprecedented tariff hikes prompted global pushback. It was not difficult to see how different countries would respond. Not difficult means easy. This sentence introduces an analysis of national reactions. The countries that are small compared to the U.S. in economic and political power, no matter how developed they are, like Singapore, were expected not to retaliate and to start negotiating with the U.S. to get some relief in rates above the baseline of 10%, which probably is not open to negotiations. Baseline means starting point. This sentence explains that smaller states would seek negotiation rather than face reciprocal tariffs. The countries that are comparable to the U.S. in economic and political power were expected to retaliate. Comparable means similar in status or strength. This sentence notes that peer nations would respond with their own tariffs. The world has seen clearly that China is the only country comparable to the U.S. that retaliated ferociously with counter tariffs. Ferociously means fiercely. This sentence commends China's aggressive counter-tariff measures. China knows the stakes in this trade game well. Stakes means risks or rewards at issue. This sentence asserts China's clear understanding of what's at risk. It knows that the U.S. will not be able to achieve its stated objectives of imposing tariffs at these exceedingly high rates, close to the prohibitive level of 145 PC. Stated objectives means publicly declared goals. This sentence predicts that U.S. overreach will force a withdrawal. It knows that the U.S. will back down in due course because Trump will eventually focus on achieving his aims. Back down is a phrasal verb meaning withdraw a position. Due course means appropriate time. This sentence forecasts Trump's readiness to compromise once revenues flow. While no European country on its own can stand up to the U.S. in this game, the EU collectively has considerable power and could have retaliated like China. Collectively means as a group. This sentence suggests the EU had the power to match China by unified action. But its suave politicians, who usually say something and mean something else, unlike Xi Jinping and Trump, came up with an expected response, expressing a symbolic retaliation without antagonizing Big Brother America, while trumpeting that the U.S. is becoming increasingly unfair to its allies. Suave means smoothly agreeable, but possibly insincere. Symbolic retaliation means minimal countermeasures, meant more for show than effect. Antagonizing means provoking hostility. This sentence critiques Europe's cautious, token resistance. Trump has brilliantly achieved the wholehearted acceptance of his baseline tariff rate of 10 PC by all countries. Wholehearted acceptance means full, enthusiastic approval. This sentence credits Trump with normalizing a new global tariff floor. But what has Trump gained so far from his trade game? This rhetorical question challenges the real benefits of Trump's strategy. He has brilliantly achieved the wholehearted acceptance of his baseline tariff rate of 10 PC by all countries. This repetition underscores Trump's diplomatic success in securing global endorsement. Imagine the reaction of countries had Trump imposed the tariffs meekly at the same level, 10 PC, or involved the World Trade Organization. Meekly means timidly or submissively. This sentence hypothesizes that a softer WTO-led approach would not have compelled compliance. The WTO bureaucracy would have allowed the process of tariff negotiation to linger for years, and each country would have resisted the tariff rate. Bureaucracy means a large administrative system. Linger means continue slowly. This sentence warns that WTO procedures would have delayed any agreement. Now Trump can easily and gradually start providing relief to various countries, bringing the total tariff rate downward closer to his baseline rate, which would be more conducive for collecting meaningful tariff revenues. Gradually means little by little. Conducive means helpful to achieving an outcome. This sentence outlines Trump's phased rollback plan to optimize tariff revenues. Does this analysis seem rational compared to the one coming from top-notch economists who have a different opinion? Closer to the influential economist view that mindless tariffs will cause economic havoc? Top-notch economists means highest caliber experts. Mindless tariffs means reckless, thoughtless duties. Economic havoc means widespread financial chaos. This sentence contrasts the writer's reasoned view with alarmist warnings. Let us suppose that Trump is mad or his tariff policy completely bonkers, as most analysts want us to believe. Bonkers means crazy or absurd. This provocative sentence adopts critics' worst-case assumptions for debate. In that case, China-US trade would come to a halt. Halt means complete stop. This sentence explores the extreme scenario of total trade stoppage. The level of tariffs on other countries would be set towards the higher end of those indicated in the next level, after the 10 PC baseline level, for each country in Trump's tariff order. This sentence predicts universal escalation of tariffs under that assumption. If that is the case, the U.S. will hardly be able to collect a reasonable amount of revenue because of drastically reduced trade volumes under this scenario. Drastically means severely. This sentence shows the self-defeating outcome of prohibitive tariffs. Still, markets and pundits are focused on this scenario because they see Trump as a madman intent on destroying world trade. This sentence criticizes fixation on Trump's persona over strategic nuance. The disdain that markets and top economists have for Trump is leading them to ignore the cost for Trump for not cooperating in this trade game, and consequently the prediction that American consumers will be severely hurt in terms of higher inflation and of lower levels of welfare for all countries. Disdain means contempt or scorn. Welfare means well-being. This sentence argues critics overlook how non-cooperation undermines Trump's goals and harms consumers. Their overemphasis on Trump's personality, together with the war metaphor, reduces the likelihood in their eyes of Trump being able to exercise considerable flexibility to set his tariffs eventually at moderate levels. Overemphasis means excessive focus. Flexibility means adaptability. This sentence claims caricaturing Trump blinds analysts to his negotiating scope. Trump is neither mad nor stupid. This blunt assertion reaffirms the writer's confidence in Trump's strategic acumen. On the contrary, he is one of the two shrewdest presidents in the world today, the other being Xi Jinping of China, who wisely stopped further retaliatory tariffs from his side, even in the event of future additional tariffs. Shrewdest means exceptionally astute or clever. Retaliatory tariffs means taxes in response to another's duties. This sentence elevates Trump and Xi as master strategists who avoid overplaying their hand. Let us wait and see how this game unfolds, perhaps perpetuating the same old economic order. Unfolds means develops. Perpetuating means continuing. This concluding sentence invites readers to observe the long-term evolution, suggesting trade tensions may simply reinforce established norms. The writer is former Deputy Governor of the State Bank of Pakistan, published in Dawn, April 23, 2025.